my name is Nura Putri Marina with my student A number 332500035. I'm from Universitas Bina Sarana Informatika, Faculty of Communication and Language and majoring in English Literature. In this video, I'm going to talk about transitive and intransitive phrasal verbs. I'll explain what they are, how they work, and give some simple examples to help you understand them more easily. So without any further ado, let's get started. Before we talk about transitive and intransitive phrasal verbs, let's first understand what phrasal verbs are. Phrasal verbs are a combination of a main verb and one or more particles, such as adverbs or prepositions, that function as a single lexical unit. The particle plays an important role in shaping the meaning of the verb, and in many cases, it creates an idiomatic expression whose meaning can be understood literally. Now let's move on to intransitive phrasal verbs. Intransitive phrasal verbs are verb particle construction that function as single lexical units and don't require a direct object. From a cognitive linguistic perspective, the verb and the particle jointly create meaning. This explanation is supported by Jaros 2019, who states the verb particle construction are processed as single units of meaning. Because the meaning is already complete, intransitive phrasal verbs can form grammatical sentence without an object. In the first example, the baby woke up suddenly, the phrasal verb woke up doesn't need an object because the meaning is already complete. In the second sentence, the fire went out at midnight, went out shows that something stopped or ended, and again, no object is required. In she grew up in a small town, the phrasal verb grew up expresses a process of development without an object. Next, the noise died down slowly. Use died down to describe something becoming quieter, and the sentence remains complete without an object. In he passed away last year, pass away is an idiomatic intransitive phrasal verb meaning to die, and it doesn't take a direct object. Now let's move on to transitive phrasal verbs. Transitive phrasal verbs are phrasal verbs that require a direct object to complete their meaning. Without an object, the sentence would sound incomplete or unclear. Grammar references also explain that some transitive phrasal verbs are separable while others are inseparable. Let's look at the examples. In the first sentence, she turned the light off. The object, the light, comes between the verb and the particle. This shows a separable transitive phrasal verb. Next, I picked the package up yesterday. Here, the object, the package, is also placed between the verb and the particle, which is another example of a separable form. In they look after the child, the phrasal verb look after is inseparable. So the object must come after the particle. Then she called her friend back. The object, her friend, is needed to explain who received the call, making this a transitive phrasal verb. Finally, she set the meeting up quickly. The object, the meeting, completes the meaning, and the particle up can be separated from the verb. So, these examples show that transitive phrasal verbs always need an object, and their structure depends on whether they are separable or inseparable. So, to sum up, phrasal verbs are an important part of English vocabulary, especially transitive and intransitive phrasal verbs, which differ based on whether they need an object or not. By understanding how these phrasal verbs work and how their particles affect meaning, we can use them more accurately in both spoken and written English. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this explanation helped you understand transitive and intransitive phrasal verbs better. Or Alright, now that we have discussed transitive and intransitive phrasal verbs in part 1, let's move on to part 2, which focuses on a case study. In this part, I will analyze gender formation with suffixes in English, using morphological theory and empirical research to explain how meaning is formed and how it is influenced by social factors. In English, gender can be marked through the addition of suffixes to a base noun. Examples such as actor and actress, waiter and waitress, prince and princess, host and hostess, and hero and heroine show how suffixation adds gender information to a word. These suffixes don't change the word class, but they modify the meaning by specifying feminine gender. Gender suffixes change the meaning of a base word by adding gender as a semantic feature. For example, the word actor refers to a performer in general, while actress specifically refers to a female performer. The core meaning of the word remains the same, but the suffix narrows the reference by marking gender. From a morphological perspective, this process is known as derivational morphology. Morphology studies how words are formed through morphemes, such as roots and suffixes. In this case, suffixes like ess and ine function as derivational morphemes that add gender meaning without changing the grammatical category of the word. Empirical research supports this analysis. Studies by Chesney et al. Show that gender marked language can influence how people perceive social roles and professions. Their findings suggest that the use of feminine suffixes may reinforce gender stereotypes, which explains why many gender marked forms are becoming less common in modern English. To conclude, gender suffixes in English illustrate how morphological processes contribute to meaning formation while also reflecting social change. That's all for me. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.